are you doing? My name is Chris Matthews. I'm your relationship coach and licensed marriage and family therapist. And in this video, I'm going to share a couple techniques and tools to help you and your partner communicate better. So before we even get into the tools and techniques, I want to just start by defining what communication is. As a couples therapist, that's a very popular call that I get for couples to schedule sessions, and they'll say, we need help on communicating, or we're just not communicating the right way. Well, you cannot not communicate. In other words, saying nothing is still saying something. So communication is defined by the delivery and the receipt of messages being sent back and forth. Those messages can be verbal, they can also be nonverbal. So in my courses, I have a lot of role plays and I have actors that actually play out the scenarios of couples communicating or not communicating. In the sense of one role play, the female partner is not saying anything verbally, but escalating the male partner just by her face expressions. I'm sure if you're in a relationship or have been, you've noticed that you can be triggered even when your partner does things that are not verbal. So eye rolling, walking out abruptly, making noise or slamming a door, those things aren't verbal dialogues, but they're still sending messages. So communication is beyond just talking to your partner. It's whenever you're sending a message, and those messages can have a lot of meaning behind them, even if you're not using words to send them. So with that being said, let's jump into the different strategies and techniques and tools you can use in order to send and receive messages more effectively in your relationship. The first tool or technique is going to be state your goal. Your communication sequence needs to have a purpose or a goal. That may be to just, and the goal could be anything, right? One goal that comes to mind for a lot of partners that I treat in counseling, the male or female partner may just have the goal to connect. And they don't know how to connect. They don't know how to initiate the dialogue. So if your goal is to learn more about your partner's day because you want to connect or be let in, say that. Say to your partner, hey, honey, I just want to learn a little bit more about how your day was. I hadn't seen you. I missed you. Tell me about what happened. In doing that, you're setting up the playing field. The partner doesn't have to feel like you're hinting for a fight or an argument is going to ensue. They understand you just want to connect and learn more about their day because you hadn't seen them. Another goal may be to make a joint decision. Say that. Say to your partner, hey, I want to sit down and have a dialogue with you because we need to make this decision around where we're going to be traveling, or if the kids are going to be going to summer camp. If so, where they're going to be going. Whatever the issue or concern or topic is, state what you want to talk to your partner about. This is critical because a lot of times partners will assume that it's going to be a fight or it's going to be a negative dialogue when that's not the intent. So make sure you state the goal. Next, stick to the plan. If the plan or the goal is to create a dialogue to produce a joint decision, stick to that. That looks like not going into other areas that could evoke pain or bring up negative dialogue or fights. And a prime example is when a partner starts out the dialogue one way and then it ends another way. So if you go to your partner and you say to your partner, hey, I just want to learn a little bit more about your day because I haven't seen you, and you're asking questions that are open-ended, you're asking questions for them to explore. If they start to tell you about how their day is or what they're doing, and then you offer critique and criticism, that wasn't the goal. The goal was for you to be a listener. The goal was for you to learn, not to give feedback and try to fix everything. And that's really important for a lot of the men I counsel, including myself, because men tend to want to always fix. But sometimes your female partner, or male partner for that matter, may just want to be heard. They may just want a sounding board. If that's the goal and your plan is to give them that space, stick to the plan. Next, eliminate distractions. Cell phones. People, please, put your cell phone down when you talk to your partner. If your cell phone is going off or buzzing, your partner's not going to feel like you're listening. which is then going to prevent them from even wanting to talk to you. I was taught by my father at an early age how to eliminate distractions and pay attention when someone's talking to you. He taught me that by making sure he eliminated distractions whenever I spoke to him. I recall countless times how I would be in the car ride home and I would start talking to my dad. He would immediately reach and cut the radio down or even cut it off. He would roll the windows up and cut the air conditioning on just so he could hear me. And that practice is something that I apply in my marriage. I apply it as a parent as well. When my children begin to talk to me or they ask for my attention, I give it to them. I want to make sure they know they're the most important people in my life. So your partner wants to feel that too. So be mindful of eliminating those external distractions that usually come by way of our cell phone or media devices. Also, be mindful of internal distractions. If it's not a right time because you're distracted or having other thoughts, tell your partner that. Make sure they're not having to guess what you're experiencing because they may want to connect, but it might not be the right time. Next, seek to understand before being understood. I'm going to say it one more time. Seek to understand before being understood. In therapy, I use the analogy of communication sometimes having to be like a one-way street. Certain topics may not allow for you and your partner to send the messages at the same time. One partner may need to send a message, identify that it's been received, and then that partner sends a message and then they identify it's been received. There's a technique that I use in therapy and it really aligns with active listening. So the technique is when your partner says something to you, pause, make sure that you then recite back what you heard. If it's wrong, the sending partner or the partner that said the message initially has the opportunity to correct you. They may say, well, you got it almost right, but this is what I really meant. Then the receiving partner will validate or verify the message by saying it back again. Once you get that check mark that your partner's message was properly received by you, then you get the opportunity to send your message. So it's similar to how cars go down a one-way street. There's only one lane. You can't have the cars going opposite directions at the same time. Communication sometimes needs to be that way. When you're talking about topics that can produce a heightening in emotion or topics that are concerning, I usually suggest that couples take this approach when sending messages back and forth. And that looks like seeking to understand before seeking to be understood. Next, be clear and concise. Some partners don't have the capacity to listen for a long time. Listening for long lengths of time takes practice. As a clinician, I can be in session, and I'm also going to be taking notes usually as well. So I have the benefit of taking notes, plus I've obtained training to know how to listen. Your partner is not going to have that same level of experience usually. Therefore, give them smaller messages. I tell couples the message needs to be between a minute and a minute and a half, so 60 to 90 seconds at most. If your partner has a short attention span, start with 30-second or 15-second messages, and then let them learn to build and grow to where you can send longer messages. There are a lot of techniques you can use. You can even have a timer out where you press the timer button and you're learning how to package the message so it doesn't need to be wordy. A lot of partners will repeat their message because they think that's going to help with the partner that they're speaking to better receiving it. It doesn't. Repeating the message doesn't help with the receipt. Slowing down and giving smaller messages will help them be better received. Think about when you eat food. Digestion starts in the mouth when you're chewing the food. So the better you chew the food, the better it's going to be digested and absorbed by the body. So the messages are the same way. If you have smaller amounts that you're chewing on, they're going to be easily digested. The same way when you eat, don't cram your mouth with food. You would want to eat smaller pieces so you can chew it up better so it can be better absorbed. The same with messages. When you communicate with your partner, Submit smaller messages, not large quantities, so they can be better heard. Last, ask for feedback. You're not designed to be perfect as a communicator. There's no such thing as perfect communication. Instead, think of communication as trial and error. Don't get frustrated if your partner didn't receive the message. Give them the grace and the patience to ask you to send the message a different way. If a message is sent to your partner and they didn't understand it, you need to change your delivery at that point. You might need to use an analogy or a metaphor. You may need to make sure the message isn't too long. Or ask your partner what part of the message they didn't get, and then try to re-deliver that part in a different fashion. Making sure that you're learning how to communicate daily by requesting and soliciting feedback. Because at the end of the day, your partner is going to be changing and you're going to be changing. So make sure that you apply these steps in order to ensure that the messages are being properly sent and received. And just to recap, state your goal. Stick to the plan, eliminate distractions, seek to understand before being understood, be clear and concise, and ask for feedback. If you apply these strategies, I promise you'll do a better job of communicating with your partner. It'll be easier for those messages to be sent and received. If you want to learn more about how to communicate with your partner, go to our website, Relationship Counseling Tools, and you can invest in the How to Make Your Voice Count workshop and online course. Those materials will give you steps. They'll provide role plays and opportunities for you to learn how to properly send and receive messages for your partner to absorb. My name is Chris Matthews. I'm your relationship coach and licensed marriage and family therapist, and I can't wait to see you on the other side. You can never go back.